Hello and welcome, Philipp Banse for DCTV.tv from the DLD 2016. My next guest is Werner Vogels from Amazon. Welcome, Werner, to the show.
Thank you, thanks for having me here.
Amazon, of course, is well known for its e-commerce business. You CTO of Amazon Web Services.
No,
CTO of Amazon, but you mainly invented Amazon Web Services, and you can talk a lot about Amazon Web Services. So just give an impression of how important and big is Amazon Web Services?
Well, first of all, Amazon Web Services started about 10 years ago. When we saw that in the first instance, young businesses had a hard time actually growing because they needed lots of investment, they needed hire IT people, all things that didn't really matter for their products. And we thought, well, you know, we've developed a whole range of technologies that we're using inside Amazon that we can bring out into the open such that other businesses can be successful on this as well. Now, it started off with the idea that that would be for young internet businesses, but it turns out enterprises were just as much interested in it. So by now, we started off, of course, 10 years ago with storage and compute and databases, sort of the basic functionality of any IT organization. But by now, we've well over 45 different services dealing with mobile, with analytics, with Internet of Things, virtual desktops, all of those. And so the business has really exceeded our expectations. Yeah, we knew that this was always going to be a really big business, a business by itself. But it grew much faster than that we actually originally anticipated. That's definitely something we were surprised about. Now we have well over 1 million businesses running on our platform. Worldwide, we have 12 different regions around the world where customers can make use of. And those regions are not just because German customers are making use of the German region. They do that, of course, but they also make use of, for example, regions in Japan or in Australia if they want to reach their customers over there. So having this worldwide operation helps customers become a global company. And there's a number of reasons why companies are so very much interested. And it moves capital from CapEx to OpEx, which that means that people no longer need to pay upfront for the IT services that they want to acquire. They can pay for them only if they've used them.
So the beauty is, before Amazon Web Services, I as a startup had to rent computers, had to buy computers,
had to rent to get investment to be able to do that, purely for that reason. Now,
just to get started.
And you have to make sure that you have enough capacity for the case that you become popular. And so capacity planning for anybody is always hard. And in the world of cloud computing, capacity planning completely goes out of the window because you no longer have this issue. You can get access to compute power or storage or databases or whatever you're looking for on demand in any form that you want.
Yeah, and everyone who did it once is really amazed how easy it really is. Just in a web browser, you can click server.
And you've just built your application that you're running here for your customers from our Frankfurt region. But with one click of a button, you can launch it in Australia, you can launch it in China, in South Korea, in the US. And so it makes it easy for businesses to do global work.
And what is the biggest service that's running on AWS that customers might know?
Well, I think probably our storage service, the simple storage service, is well known. If you look at the data transfer rates in and out of that, it has well over 100% growth in the past year. Our compute service.
Which companies are using it? What are the main brands?
Anyway, I mean, every young business is using it. All the big names you know today as household names like Dropbox and Spotify and Uber and all of those are...
They're using it for data storage.
They've all grown up with it. Data storage, compute, databases, all of those kind of things. But also, and if you look at Germany, for example, almost every startup here, whether it's IM or OneFootball or SoundCloud or, I mean, MyTaxi, all of them are making use of AWS, but also enterprises. Yeah, if you look, for example, at Talanx and Kerger and all these sort of traditional German companies are also making use of it. Or Kempinski, the high-end hotel chain, has, for example, made the decision to go all in, move all of their IT operations into the cloud so they can focus on building new high-end digital operations in the organization. But also many of our partners, Software AG, SAP, all make sure that their software runs on AWS for their customers.
And some other big companies like Facebook or Google, they have outsourced some of their innovation software, like database software. Is Amazon planning this to do?
Well, we have lots of unique software that we have developed. For example, DynamoDB, which is the first key value store ever developed. has been made available to our customers for a long time. The way that we do, for example, help you with mobile development, whole IoT toolkit helps you with both communicating from devices into the cloud. Our mobile environment, we have lots of smaller mobile services, but also something on top of that called Mobile Hub, which makes it that simple for mobile developers to build their cloud backend. And so we have a lot of unique technologies that we're bringing in front of customers so that they can make use of it. But we take a very, let's say, liberal approach here, because we believe that it's customers who know best which services they would like to use. We don't force them that if you want to use our storage service, that you also need to use our compute service or also need to use our databases. It should be seductive by itself. Yeah, but so customers can pick and choose which kind of services they want to use, which kind of software they may want to run themselves instead of using our services, and it's very successful in that way.
I wonder, with the world getting more and more mobile and the Internet of Things becoming a reality right now, how does these developments look like from your perspective? How do you see the Internet changing?
Well, first and foremost, of course, if you think about mobile, as much as we love the apps that run on our phones and on our tablets, much of the functionality of the apps actually sits somewhere else, sits in the cloud. Yeah, because your mobile device is just a window into data what lives in the cloud. Because tomorrow you might want to buy a new cell phone. Yeah, and if you fire that one up, you want to immediately have access to all your data, to all your music, to all your files. Yeah, and so that lives in a cloud world by itself, and these devices become a window onto it. And this is becoming sort of that world is becoming much more mature. Yeah, I've already seen the treadmills where you can step on, I key in my code, and immediately all my files, all my music, all my videos are there to read in the morning when I run on the treadmill. And integrated with cars and things like that. So that's really the world of mobile development. And beautiful applications are being built together with backends that are really simple. That's all. The world of IoT is, of course, something that is tremendous in flux at the moment.
Internet of Things.
Internet of Things. And I make a differentiation between two of them. One is the consumer style Internet of Things, which is maybe our health devices, our monitors, or our home automation and things like that have their unique challenges by itself. But the whole industrial Internet of Things is something that is really truly exploding. Yeah.
Can you give an example for
sure.
people?
For example, here in Germany, Philips CityTouch has, I don't know which city it is, but they these days each LED street lamp has a small GPRS modem in them. So the whole street lamps in the city have been replaced by LED lamps, a small modem in them, and then from remote you can collect data about the energy efficiency of your street lamps, but you can also control them. So you can make changes in color. For example, there's a football match happening here in the stadium, the train station is over there, and you can create a different lighted path through the city for the fans to actually go back to the train station. Yeah, or Tata Motors, for example, they're instrumenting all of their trucks. They're
a huge Indian motor company.
200,000 trucks on the road. Their biggest problem is cars breaking down somewhere. They put all these sensors in it, a small modem in it, and now they can do preventive maintenance on these trucks, so they can completely eliminate this breaking down. Again, here in Germany, Kercher, the well-known cleaning company, they also built all these industrial cleaning machines. Yeah, and so they put all sorts of sensors in there to understand the efficiency, the usage, and things like that, and then feed that back to the customers that are making use of these industrial cleaning machines. And they do it all over the world. Tons of things happening in that world. On one hand, so most of that is data being generated by these devices or by this instrumentation, and that flows back into the cloud, for example, for efficiency improvements. General Electric is instrumenting all of their gas turbines with new sensors. That data flows back in the cloud, is being analyzed, and then these energy companies can make use of that data to optimize their operations and really save them significant dollars.
So obviously, for you as a company, AWS, it's a huge opportunity in business-wise. But where are the challenges in terms of architecture, internet, with this IoT coming into reality?
Well, IoT has, of course, many different components. One of them is that there's many smaller devices being built out there, and so we work with many of the device manufacturers to provide what's called SDKs, software development kits, that can be used on these devices. such that they can securely communicate. So one of the things that the IoT solution that we have give our customers is to make sure that they can make use of encrypted communication between those devices and the cloud where most of the functionality of the applications live. Security and privacy of things, especially I think also in the home automation case, is crucial. Yeah, and we're building many new functionality and services around this, such that customers can really protect themselves.
You mentioned encryption. How did or how has the Snowden revelation changed your business?
Actually, it has, from my point of view, has made my life easier.
Why?
Because before Snowden, I had a hard time convincing customers that they should encrypt their data. They weren't dumb. They said, yes, we need to do that. But when I have a team that actually has some time left, we'll do it. After these revelations, it's much easier to have this conversation with customers that if they have sensitive business data or personal identifiable information of their customers, they should encrypt it. And these days, that conversation is a lot easier. And we give customers a whole toolbox of these encryption tools such that they can actually really protect themselves. So that they are the only ones who decide who have access to their data, not us as a provider.
Governments argue, Great Britain, US, well, it's all nice that you encrypt your data, it's very nice, but we need access in terms of criminal investigations, and there's a suggestion to build backdoors that only government agencies can access. What do you think about this idea?
I think if governments can get access to backdoors, criminals can as well. Yeah, and as such I think the only way to truly guarantee end-to-end safety and security is to have end-to-end encryption without backdoors.
That's it.
Yeah.
And
otherwise, you put your customers at risk, or you put your citizens at risk.
And how optimistic are you that you can prevent this kind of trend?
Well, of course, that's a politician thing. I like to believe that many of our customers will want to make decisions whether they want to share their keys with government agencies. But that should be a conversation between customers and the agencies, not us as a provider. Yeah, and plus that, we don't own the encryption technologies that are in there. Yeah, it's customers that need to encrypt their data, so we cannot provide backdoors or anything like that. It's the encryption technology that our customers are using. Yeah, and they may probably always want to opt for one that has no backdoors.
But you will not build backdoors?
We will not build backdoors,
okay.
No.
The second thing I wanted to ask you is, the EU put new data protection regulation into place, and there are some technical stuff to be implemented, and how does this change your business? And is it a problem to scale this on a global level, or do you implement it on a European level and make the other businesses in the US and overseas?
No, we have a very different view from maybe some of the discussions that we've seen here at DLD. We think that protecting our customers will forever be our #1 priority. And as such, we're in total harmony with the data protection agencies who have exactly the same goal, protecting businesses and citizens from unauthorized access to their data. We have exactly the same goal. Yeah, and as such, for example, all the discussions around Safe Harbor, our data protection agreement that we offer our customers is much stronger than any of the Safe Harbor provisions. And as such, there's a working group within the EU called Working Party 29 that has all the data protection agencies from all the different EU countries together who have approved our data protection agreement with the model clauses in there, where we guarantee to our customers, where they can be assured that even if they move data out of the European Economic Region, that still that data is supervised by EU data protection laws.
And is in compliance with those laws?
Totally in compliance with it. And as such, we always work together with, whether it's data protection agencies, or for example here in Germany, the Datenschutz law, which is already a bit older. We worked with a number of our customers to review the law, make exact technical blueprints, architectural blueprints, that if they follow those architectural blueprints, they can be in compliance with the law. We then took that blueprint back to TÜV and had them give a stamp on it saying that yes, if customers follow these guidelines, they're in compliance with the regulation.
But what you do is say the NSA says, or FBI says, well, Philipp Banse, he's a suspected terrorist, please give us access to his files on Amazon computers in the US.
First and foremost, anyone, whether it's a law enforcement agency or intelligence agencies, need to come to us with a lawful binding order. If you've encrypted your data, there's nothing for us to give. Yeah. First of all, if we are allowed to, we will notify our customers that we have received such a request, and they can seek a pro protection order against that if they would want to. But again, we motivate our customers to encrypt their critical business data and personal identifiable information. So this whole discussion is moot. If customers have encrypted that data, it's a conversation between law enforcement and the customer, not us as a provider in the middle.
Some in the European Union, some businesses, some politicians argue, well, if we have this kind of data protection, it's a disadvantage in the global economy. How do businesses and businesses in other regions react in Asia and the US to this data protection?
Well, first and foremost, I think encrypting your your sensitive business data and personal identifiable information of your customers is something that is just good standard security hygiene. You should do it even on premise, even in your own data centers. Yeah? And as such, we're motivating our customers worldwide to take exactly the same approach. But for example, I just spent some time in Southeast Asia. Malaysia, Singapore, Australia have new privacy regulations in place where we also made these blueprints for. We're working with the government in Thailand, for example, where they are evolving their cybercrime and their cyber security regulations with our experiences from what we've seen around the world, how you can really make regulations that actually companies can implement. And so we're working with all agencies around the world to make sure that customers can be in compliance with the law while protecting themselves.
And do you think that the EU regulation is kind of a blueprint for a worldwide setup as data protective? And does the EU regulation makes it easier for you to argue in the US and Asia for more encryption?
No, well, I think, first of all, I think encryption doesn't necessarily related to these data protection agencies or agreements or whatever. It is just good hygiene that you should do anyway. Yeah, it helps you to be in compliance with the law. But you know, for us, the law is in general, when it comes to security, sort of the minimum bar, or some compliance regulations, the minimum bar. We feel that we have to spend much more time, much more effort in actually encrypting or protecting our data, because it is absolutely the most important part of your business. Yeah?
Okay.
Without protecting your sensitive business data and the information of your customers, you shouldn't have business.
A last topic I want to touch with you is the global internet regulation and governance. China and some other authoritarian states, they seek to control their internet, to set up barriers, to regulate their own domain names and try to nationalize the internet. What's your view on that?
Well, I think, you know, I always look at it from a perspective of our customers. Yeah, does it make it easier for them to do business? Well, these are realities. Yeah, and as such, we try to help our customers with making it easy, for example, for them to do business in China. We have first region opened in China. We'll launch a second one in this year as well. But we set it up in such a way that customers have exact control over where they place their data and know exactly what are the access patterns to their data there.
And do you do business in China?
We do business in China. We have a region in China. It's very successful. It's a country with, of course, tremendous enterprises and young businesses that are growing really fast, but also a very, very strong startup culture.
And do you have to make some compromises? Because all we hear is, well, we have to, when you do business in China, you have to play by the rules.
You have to play by the rules in every country that you operate in. Yeah, with the Frankfurt region, we are subject to German laws, and as such, we need to make sure that we obey the laws in each and every of the countries that we operate in, and that goes for China as well.
Last question is net neutrality. Some operators here and in the US, they try to cash in on both sides. They try to get my money as a customer because I want to have access to the Deutsche Telekom internet. And they say, well, if you want to receive YouTube videos, then maybe you should convince YouTube to pay us a little bit more money so the YouTube videos comes through to you. Yeah. What is your perspective on this?
We're strong believers in that net neutrality should be staying at where it is. Equal access to the internet means that young businesses, so in the case where you have, let's say, a superhighway next to the regular internet, where only people that can pay access to it, means that young businesses will be at a disadvantage. They will not have the kind of capital to be able to build new video services or things like that. In a world where you have egalitarian access to the internet, competition can really flourish because no longer access to, let's say, the superhighway gives you better service.
As the CEO of Deutsche Telekom would argue, well, a new startup, they want to really make sure to get to their customers, and this the only way to really make sure that they get through to their customers is give us a little bit from their revenue.
You know, most startups don't have revenue to start off with, and it's a vicious cycle because, you know, how can I create a world how can I create my customer base if I do not have access to these services that other companies do have? And as such, as Amazon, we believe in an egalitarian access to the internet.
All right. Werner Vogels, thank you very much for your time.
My pleasure.
Werner Vogels, CTO of Amazon. My name is Philipp Banse for DCTP.tv from the DLD 2016 in Munich. Thank you very much for watching. Stay tuned. See you soon. Bye-bye.